in Bubba's backyard and more. Taking a look at what we have planted. Alright, so over here we have carrots, which are slow to germinate. Oh, now the sound's gonna be hard.
I know. It's been like that. You didn't hear it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but go ahead.
So we have carrots over here, which are finally germinating, but they take the longest. And then over here,
probably have to do it again. We'll try it.
We have beets. And so you were asking how to thin them?
Yes.
And so I said you should pretend like you're plucking your eyebrows and you want to look at the one that you want to save, right? So if these, like, you know, we want to thin them right now, since they're still babies, we want to see which ones are gonna survive. So that's why you overseed them and then you go through and you thin them, because different seeds, different crops have different germination rates. So some will say like 98%, right? Like radishes are just like you plant the seed, it's gonna come up. Beets and carrots and stuff like that, if you plant the seed, there's less of a germination rate. Like I don't know what the percentage is. So that's why you do more and then you thin them out. There's a bee close to your leg, so don't move. Alright. It's alright, it's alright. It's alright, it's alright. It's gonna be
I know.
Alright,
cool. That's gonna be all on the video.
Yeah. Karen getting bit. Alright. So to thin them, like I was saying, I'm gonna go around to this side. Stay there. So you wanna pick the one that you wanna save. And you go in like your fingers are tweezers. And so if we're saving this one, let's say we want to thin them right now to one every like inch or so.
Right.
So you pick the one you want to save and then you go in and you pull the ones around it. So let's say now another inch. So this is the one I'm saving. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to pinch and pull them out. And you need to make sure you're getting the root, otherwise it's not worth it. I mean, it actually, sometimes if you're trying to thin them, it could be helpful to just, if it's really hard to thin them, to cut back the leaves, because then the other ones are going to like grow taller, but if you can, it's just always best to get it at the root. So
yeah,
yep. Ooh. And you want to like be careful not to disturb them as much as possible. See, there's this one still.
So, well, then you're taking out the root and you're putting it over there. Would that mean could some of that grow over there?
No, because it's just gonna wilt and die. If it was a seed or something, or it won't.
Okay.
So we're going in. So we're saving this one. We're gonna be really careful. And you might want to wait until they're a little bit bigger before thinning them, just to make sure they're a little more established, but I think it's alright. So, you know, so we're spacing them like this, we're getting these ones, I'm going to choose that one. You're basically getting to play God. You get to decide who lives and dies.
Okay.
Okay, so same with these. Now these are turnips, and these are doing pretty well. And again, same thing with thinning them. And this is really the time, I think, to be thinning them when they have, I was saying, like these are the cotyledons, when they have their first two leaves, so like the little ones, they start out like that, right? And all these are in the brassica family of plants, and most of the leaves look very similar, like these round, kind of heart-shaped. So I'll show you over there too. So once they have like the third leaf like that, you see it starts to like take a, you know, more of a serrated shape, and that's called like having its true leaves. So so once it's like at that size, it's probably the best to really be going through and thinning. Same idea. Just pick the one you want to survive. Right. Over here, well, you know, we got all our greens doing pretty well. We have kale, and in between, these are also all in the brassica family, but we started these all as starts, so they were already a couple inches, you know, tall and established. These are scallions we planted throughout, which are good for pests, and you can just like intersperse them in lots of spots. Mustard greens are looking really good. I'd say like another few days, and we can even start harvesting these leaves. They're going to be really good. And that's a row of collards. Over here we have broccoli, which likes cooler weather, so it's a really good fall crop. All of these are. And the brassicas get a little bit sweet when they're in cooler weather, even after like the first frost or so. And we should be able to keep harvesting this stuff throughout the fall, maybe even into the winter, depending on how warm it is. I just seeded some beans over here and over here, so it'll take a few days for those to come up.
For beans?
Beans, yeah.
Okay. Am I getting beans?
It'll probably be too late for you, but you're getting these beans, and we did herbs here. So I did some parsley. These are the confused herbs, remember? I did some parsley, some cilantro, and some dill.
Okay.
Over here, so we have our collards. These are collards, and these are cabbage. Over here, we have radishes, arugula.
Okay, you have it separated.
With a little stick. Spinach, and oh, this is a braising. It's called a braising mix, an ovation mix. I think it just means like, you know, just like outstanding. I don't know. So
it's edible.
Yeah, it's all edible.
All edible.
So this is a mixture of, and you harvest it when they're baby greens, of, I think it's mustard greens, maybe an Asian green called mizuna, and maybe arugula and turnips, because you can harvest turnip greens.
Okay.
So you then, like, you know, when they're a few inches tall, like, you know, like the salad mixes and stuff, same with the lettuce. Over here, you just chop it, and it's cut and come again, which means you harvest it, and then you wait a few weeks, and then you can harvest it again, because you're not pulling out the root.
Right, right.
As opposed to growing like a head of lettuce.
Right.
Then you would just harvest it once.
Right.
This has nothing yet, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait a few weeks, and then I'm going to replant some of the greens so that we have a constant rotation.
Okay.
Plus, it's just interesting to see how things do when you plant them at different times.
Right.
You know, like sometimes, you know, one day, like I was saying, we had all the rain, that stuff germinated really quickly, you know, so it's good to like do experiments like that. Over here we have some more spinach. It's doing pretty well. Again, this stuff likes the cold weather, and we'll keep going. Like last year, you know how much snow we had? I was still going out there and harvesting it.
Oh, okay.
So this will keep going.
Oh,
you know.
see that little baby spider? Oh, good. Keep it going.
And I think pretty soon after this stuff comes up a little more, I'll probably cover it to keep it protected. You know, there's a lot of leaves falling and stuff. It's the row cover. As you see, the row cover is off right now, but that's what the white stuff is. Over here, yes, so spinach, and then we have lettuce. This is like a lettuce mix. I seeded it pretty dense, so I'm going to wait, but then I'm going to have to thin it out. And some of it will just do it naturally, like the, you know, it'll thin itself out a bit. And over here we have Swiss chard, which looks a lot like the beets.
I love how you have them roll in a line.
So you
in a row.
So you want to do that because you want to give them enough space. So like, you know, so these are called like sea of green plantings when you just scatter them, because those are like, you want them to be pretty dense so that there's no weeds that can go through, and they're easy to cut. So that's like for the baby lettuce mixes, for the arugula, that sort of stuff. But the Swiss chard is going to grow bigger. You know, so you want to give it more space. So you plant it in rows because you need it to branch out a bit.
Okay.
And that's all we have for you today on this episode of Bubby's Backyard and More. See you next time!